So I think it's been approximately 9 months since my last tier list, and as I'm sure you can tell from the title of the video, we're going to be redoing the tier list. So I'll still be looking back at my previous tier lists, see where I place things and what differences they may have now, and maybe talk on that. But for the most part, I'm just going to try and quickly get through and rate everything because there's a lot to go through. First of all, we'll start off with Adventure. It's very solid, plus 10 damage passive, but I feel like it's gotten slightly worse as a starting passive. I'm slightly less happy to see it, but it's still quite solid. Last time I put in A. Yeah, I agree with that. A good slime. You do need synergy points if you want a good slime to be doing stuff. When you do get synergy points with it, it is a decent passive. I think that's pretty fair to put in C, maybe B minus. Alchemist Cookbook. So last time I put in A, and I was talking about how it could very easily go in S. I 100% agree with that. It definitely deserves to be up high. New Alchemist Cookbook, well, it's not new anymore. In fact, it's really quite old, but not decreasing the bombs damage really is pretty amazing. And okay, the bombs are just so valuable. Like, imagine you get an early Alchemist Cookbook and then you get like Slime, for example, the mini boss, that is. Like, it just melts through them so easily. That's like A plus plus. Like, that's like top of A. It's really quite good. Alien's Rock did get much better recently. There's Lightning Orb got even better. Balance got better synergy with Alien's Rock. It has really quite a few good synergy points. I feel like it could go on A, but due to the fact that sometimes you're just going to hit nothing with it, it's got to go on B. It looks like last time I placed in B as well. Ambi, yeah, last time I placed this pretty high. I'm not surprised. Oh my god, I put Alchemist in S last time. That's really tempting. Like, you get an early Alchemist, you're so happy. Late Alchemist, you're still pretty fine. It's extra, oh my god. I'm talking myself into it. It's extra AoE in area too. Like, it's just so nice to have all of that stuff. Ami's nice, especially if you're building up a massive deck. Being able to discard twice, get to your good orbs, it's really, really good because you really don't want to be shooting your bad orbs. I have it in S, probably because, it was a starting passive. I think I can get behind that. Now, these two passives, I'm both just going to put them here. It's not that I think that, like, Apple a Day is. I don't think they should be removed, to be clear. I think they should both be changed slightly. I think they're just very uninspiring in their current form. Apple a Day is not bad. It's actually, like, fine. Like, I could put it in C. But I think that both of those passives would be very interesting to see changes made to. Olga, it's a very decent passive. I'd say it's probably not as. No, it's pretty great. I put it in S++ last time. Do I think that's fair? Yeah, I will say that Alien's Rock got slightly better, which means that Orga technically got slightly worse. Not by much. It's so much Pierce. It's actually like the best source of Pierce now as well. Because like OMR is a decent source of Pierce, but it's not exactly Pierce. And then Prime Rod actually did get nerfed, so I think I've probably just got to put in S++. No surprise, it's really good. Yeah, this is definitely just going there. The change was cool, and I believe last time I put it in C because, it had just been changed. I wanted to give it a chance, but yeah, I think I can officially say that I want I want to see some changes to it. Badges, it's always fun. I put it in A tier last time. Okay, I don't know about that. I think I'll put it in B tier this time. It's a decent AoE passive. Sometimes you can get some decent use out of it, and sometimes you assemble a full comp with it, and it's really nice. But most of the time, it's not exactly going to be the most impressive passive, shall we say. I think I disagree with me placing it in A last time. I feel like surely I must have placed it in B and then bumped it up to A. Bag of Orange Pegs. So the Bag of Orange Pegs did get slightly changed technically with the nerf to Morbid, the Fresh Potion. It got slightly worse. I put in 8 S tier last time, yeah. Pretty fair. The thing is, damage multipliers in this game are really, really good. And it's quite easy to get the hit on Orange Pegs. It's definitely not the craziest passive, but I think it earns that S spot, to be honest. Whooping Hammer, it's solid. I don't know where I placed it last time. I'd say Shield Comp is one of the better things you can do on Belen, and it's also just like a really good passive to hit into Area 2 with. It's definitely a tier above Fiery Furnace, I'd say. I don't know. The thing is, as well, because it's basically only a Belen passive, I get to only look at it through the Belen lens. Because sure, you can hit it on Peglin Tuition, but you get an extra choice on Peglin Tuition, so you can just not pick it. Or, maybe somehow you find the Fortification. You are actually pretty happy. I have actually done quite a few Fortification runs on Peglin Tuition. I think it would be low A tier. Where did I put it last time? B, yeah, fair. Very fair. Basalt Totem, it's pretty uninspiring. I put it in C last time. I think they could definitely perhaps make it like 5 HP, maybe slightly more. Yeah. I think it will be interesting to see a change to it, is the thing. Basic Blade, same here. It's just a way more boring version of +1 starting the circle. And I don't think there need to be 2 passives. I think the Basic Blade could be changed to something else. Guaranteeing crits when you hit 13 coins. It has been nerfed quite a bit. It's a bit tough to place it too high. but guaranteed crits is quite decent. It's either A or B tier. Um, I don't know. It's tough. I feel like a lot of the time I won't end up picking this passive because I want a passive that does something a bit more proactive. It's like, yeah, sure, getting crits is nice and all, but usually you have either other sources of doing that or it's not too hard to get a crit. I think I'll put it low A tier. I think that's pretty fair. Betsy's Hedge, probably rated a lot higher last time because plus 2 plus 0 was a pretty big deal. A lot of my recent runs haven't really used Betsy's Hedge as much. It's still just very, very decent. I think I'll just definitely chuck in like high B. It's very solid to get plus 2 plus 0. Like, if you've got your dagger and it turns into a 3/7, like, don't mind if I do. Like, especially I'm thinking like, sometimes I've just gone Betsy's Hedge and I've completely rolled Minotaur because of it. Like, it's certainly very decent, and I can't seem to find where I placed it last time. So I'm just not going to try looking for it too much. Bomb Baton. Bomb Baton is two different passives. There's Bomb Baton with Cruci 12 active and without Cruci 12 active. With Cruci 12 active, it's like A or S tier. Like, it's so good. With Cruci 12 active, it's probably only A tier. I think putting in A is very fair because it does get hit pretty hard, but still having that minus 120 health on all enemies, it's really quite good, especially with the bomb change on Cruci 12, so they deal 5 more damage. It turns out that 5 more actually made a pretty big difference. Bombullet. Bombaton's definitely much better, especially since it's common. Like, Bombaton's a very decent starting passive. I think I'll put it here. I've been pretty impressed with Bombullet recently, but I don't think it deserves much higher. Now, this is interesting. Where did I place this last time? I placed it in A. I think it's in one of these two. Knuckles in... Yeah, I'm putting it up here. Knuckles in my Cruci 20 runs is actually such insane scaling. And a lot of the time you're going to want to build towards Knuckles as well, because the refresh stuff is really good and getting the circles really good, and there's ways you can combo off from the circle. I think part of the big reason why Knuckles got so much better is because Train Talent and Added Advantage probably didn't exist last time around. I'm not seeing them on a quick glance there, but yeah, no, I think putting Knuckles there is pretty fair. Because the thing is, as well, you can only get Knuckles on, 2 classes, and the 2 classes that can get it are very happy to get it. Like, boost your normal damage on Peglin? Sure, that's fine. Boost your normal damage on Peglin? You're probably getting much more than just normal damage boosting from that. And also, like, finding refresh synergy stuff is really good. Round Guide, yeah, definitely a C tier, absolute garbage passive, right? It's definitely not like an insta pick every time you see it. It's definitely not amazing to counteract Crucible's 15. It's definitely not like amazing for every Crucible 20 run. Like, there are two halves of Crucible 21s: the ones where you get round guard and the ones where you don't get round guard. It should frankly be the poster child for S tier. It's extremely good. Spinfection. Your bombs apply Spinfection 1. So your bombs deal plus 10 damage baseline with potential for further high roll. Yeah, I put it in B last time. I'd say it could go in A. My last run was super fun with it. You do need some more synergy with it, which is kind of unfortunate. Like, you probably want a bit more than just bomb supply Spinfection 1. Maybe they're applying Spinfection 2, maybe the Spinfection's increasing, maybe you're getting Delusion from it, that kind of stuff. And if you do find that stuff, it is definitely a much more solid passive. Honestly, I could put it in low A, so I will. Complex. I mean, it's fine. It's really not that spicy, but it's very different to Basic Blade, I'd say. Yeah, sure. I'll just chuck it here. You're not whining about the damage, but it's not the most interesting passive. I'm not fully sure what this is, so I'll just be skipping it. Maybe it's something, but I don't know. The one I thought it was this, but it's clearly not. Constricting. So I'd say Constricting got slightly worse just because boss passives on average got slightly better. But I've still picked it up a lot in recent runs. Last time I had it in S++. That's not much of a surprise. I'd say at the minimum it's definitely low S++. Do I put it in S? The thing is, getting a second shot on all of your shots is so good. And like, sure, your navigation's slightly harder. Sure, your slots probably aren't aiming exactly where you want them to. I think that's still just fine. 0-4, 1 extra refresh. 1 less refresh. So 1 extra refresh. That'll be a nice passive. When do I actually pick this up? Let's be real. They've been going through and they're making some good changes to some boss passives. I think that's pretty fair to put that there. Same with this one, to be honest. I don't know. I'm actually pretty fine to pick it up sometimes, but no. I want to see it buffed is the thing. It's kind of a bit uninspiring, and especially when you've got passives that are really good at removing your refresh. Like, I want kind of a bit more of an effect. Cookie. So, Cookie was instant S++ for a while, and probably on all my tier lists ever. Now this is a very different Cookie. It only has 1 health. So I think because of that, it automatically can't go on S++. I think either high A or low S. You're very happy to get Cookie, but it's certainly not the best healing passive anymore. I think I'd just chuck it here. Like, sure, if you get your refreshing punch, if you get your leaf, oh, cookie's going to be the best passive for you. Probably better than if anyone get, but it's still not that crazy. Criticus, I'm wondering where I put it last time. Yeah, I wasn't that soaked on Criticus. It was B. I'm not sure if that's low B or not, but it's pretty low down the list. It may just be because of where it was when I put it in. I like Criticus, it's cool. I think high B or low A, I think is a pretty decent spot for it. The damage you can get from it, yeah, sure. Let's just let the crit passives hang out. It's decent. There are lots of good ways to trigger your crits, and especially for like mini bust me up, it's a really good passive to have. Fleece, definitely not too crazy. Where exactly did I put it last time? I'm wondering. 80? Okay, very fair. I'll put them all in the same area, except I think I'll put Fleece a bit higher. It's pretty good. You're pretty happy to pick up Fleece if you found the synergy for it. It's just a lot of extra damage. As I said earlier, Multiply is really good. The thing with Bag, though, as to why it's like so much higher than Fleece right here, is because you can get like an up to a 4 times multiplier on Bag, which is nuts. And usually you're not going to get too much from Fleece, just because finding all the pieces for Fleece can be a bit tough. Confusion Mask. I'm not inspired by Confusion Mask at all. Basically, if I ever see Confusion Mask, I don't want to pick it up. Um, Especially when you want to compare it to like New Sealed Conviction, for example. Like, I'm just not happy with it. I think that it's definitely much more interesting than it has been in the past. But I think like the most interesting version of it was +2/+3, just full stop. And then you start battle with Confusion 4. Because I think in its current form, I actually haven't checked recently though, so I can't fully confirm. But the one that I'm judging off of is the +2/+4 while you're debuffed, which I just don't think is particularly interesting as boss passive, especially when we just got Heavy Hand, which is a pretty amazing boss passive. I think you might be able to guess where it's going to go. Decoy Orb. Decoy Orb's very decent. Because Brown Guard is in S++, it is a much weaker passive, but it definitely deserves A tier, I'd say. I put it in S tier previously. I can see S tier. I'd say my Decoy Orb, I haven't been as happy with it recently, but like just getting +1 turn or +2 turns in Crucible 15 plus, that's pretty worth it. Morbid. Yep, Morbid was unsurprisingly just in S++ previously. Now it destroys half your refreshes, which is a very big hit if you have Leaf, if you have like Peg Bag and stuff. The thing is, it runs down, and the fact that it runs down is pretty brutal for it because most of the time you're going to be on an odd number of refreshes. So it's pretty rough. I think I'll definitely put an S. Honestly, it could still deserve the S tier. That's just how strong having Morbid is. Like, you get so many more pick procs on Morbid, but a lot of the time you are just losing all of your refreshes, so all dropping down to 1 refresh, which neither of which are particularly ideal, but you can still do a lot on 1 refresh, especially with Morbid. Dumbbell. I've been really much more pleased with Dumbbell recently. I imagine I put it in what, like B tier? Yeah. I put it solidly in the middle of B tier approximately. Yeah, I'll put it like here. Dungeon Die. I feel like I rated Dungeon Die pretty highly last time. Yeah, low A tier. Because I was actually like really enjoying Dungeon Die back then. It's definitely I haven't had the opportunity to use it as much. But the thing about Dungeon Die is it's really strong with your backspace button. Your backspace button is really good, and like if you can get Ambi Dungeon Die, you're actually just generating yourself a lot of extra damage. That being said, I think I could just bump it down to B tier. It's been a while since I've used it. I do like the passive still quite a lot, but it's definitely not as crazy as it was, as it felt before. Yeah, Potion. I wonder where I'm going to put this. I'm just putting it there. It enables such insanely strong synergy with like so many things. Like if you can find Shuffle Orb, like that's basically GG. Shuffle Orb does so much for that comp, and if you have like Cookie or like just anything, there's so many cool synergy pieces you can do with Potion. It just deserves S for sure. Station. I think I probably rated Station pretty low before. Low B. I think I'll boost it up to an A. The damage boost you get from it is actually pretty impressive. It is only every 4 shots though. That's why I had it in B before, because you're not getting it every single shot, which is ideally when you want the effect. But every 4th shot, as it turns out, having a multiple is pretty valuable. Yeah, Echo 10. It's just pretty bad. I think I could have pretty confidently just put this in, yep, Buff Remove. I see now that I put that in Buff Remove last time as well. Echo 10 is just pretty uninspiring, and especially since they made the change where you don't actually need to do damage to gain your buffs. It's definitely gotten much weaker. Pretty much the only times I really care about Echo 10 anymore are when I have Echo, but I want to take it to Echo 110, or Ouroboros, just to slightly improve Ouroboros, because Ouroboros not increasing damage now it's pretty rough orb. I feel like they might be able to change that back, especially with Horrible not being removed for Ouroboros. It's just got quite a few downsides attached to it that makes it pretty hard to use nowadays. Yeah. Magnet. I've been picking it up quite a lot recently, I'd say. It's certainly not crazy bad. Where did I put it last time? Probably A tier. Oh, no, I put it low B. Yeah, I'll put it low A. Sorry, I put it reasonably high A, B. I mean, I'd say it deserves that. You're hitting on average more pegs, but it does just mess up a lot of your shots. And unfortunately for it, I just don't like that about it. So yeah, it's not going much higher for me. Yeah, enhanced. Yep, I have enhanced as the leader of the S plus plus tier. I don't think it deserves it as much as before. I think that Round Guard certainly deserves it so much. Although enemies are better at scaling now, so Round Guard has gone slightly worse. And like Thimble getting 4 turns instantly really decreases the power of Round Guard, but usually you have the damage to blast through it. Enhanced Stat just generates you so much extra damage. It's so good with bomb synergy stuff, and it can generate you extra passives as well. It basically just does everything you need. Like it's extremely extremely good. I don't think it can go anywhere lower. Increase your bullet gained by 2. So unfortunately, I do see this passive quite a bit on Peglin, and that's probably what's going to drag it down a bit more. But I've been really impressed with this passive recently, to the point where I'm still just going to chuck it in A. Like, just a +2 on your bullet gains constantly is really nice when you combine it with like Train Tabard and Added Advantage. Because they're both decent passives. I see that now that Added Advantage or Train Tabard are not on this list, are they? Well, Added Advantage would have been really early on, because it's, better quarter. Oh well, although they do have 2 sashes. I'll try and go through in the end, and I'll try and rate the passes that I haven't actually rated already, because I presume this list is missing a bit. I have total. It's very decent just for boss passive options alone. You also get to see extra orbs, which makes it nice on Spimenta when you're trying to do assemble stuff. It's certainly not a bad passive. Where do I want to put it though? Yeah, I'd say A. It deserves like low A. It's a very decent greed passive to have. Oh my god, that's exactly where I put it last time. It's a very decent greed passive to have, and you're very happy to just pick it up just before a boss fight. Just improve your boss passive options, because being able to see just one more could get you the passive you're looking for, which turns your loss into a win. Fiery Furnace, I'm just going to put it the tier below Bullpeen Hammer. Wow, I put Bullpeen Hammer so low. I feel like that was a bit mean. Bullpeen Hammer's actually not that bad. Especially in Area 2, like you get such big starting shield. But yeah, Furnace is much, much worse. There's a very big difference between Create and Destroy. Yeah, I think it's pretty fair. I kind of went over Fiery Furnace when I was talking about Hammer. 1 extra refresh. So I believe I had this probably S tier previously. No, high A tier. Yeah, I think S tier is pretty fair. 1 extra refresh, like. 1 extra refresh, sign me up. That's just so, so nice. Refreshing is just absolutely crucial, especially if you look at where I've rated like these two. Like, getting 1 extra refresh is really big. Like, honestly, there is a difference. You have your runs without fresh bandana and your runs with a fresh bandana. Having 2 refreshes is just so big. I think it definitely deserves that spot. At decreased damage from wolf by 50%. Yeah, this is basically just an abrasion buff, right? Like, abrasion and Nosabad if you can hit it. The problem is, I've never really managed to hit Gardener's Gloves and abrasion. I think this could probably decrease the self-damage by more, to be honest. I think I could comfortably put it in buff or remove. I don't want it removed, I want it buffed. But, like 50% nice and all, but that's its only effect. And it's 1 passive. And, like, you're probably not going to get any use out of it. It's cool, but it's really not that cool. I think Gifts goes like A tier. Like, having Durable is super nice, but it can actually be also downside as well. You, like, can struggle getting to your refreshes. Last time, it seems I put it in S++. I've had quite a change of ideas since then, apparently. I think I could definitely put in S. It's a very, very solid boss passive to get. You're probably not too sad about it. I don't know. I think I'll put it high A. You can lead it the A tier. Like, it's very decent to get, but I don't know. I don't really feel like putting it that much higher. Glory Suffering, it's really nice. Especially with the new Heavy Hand. Yeah, just because of Heavy Hand, honestly, I want to put it like a tier higher from where I put it last time. I put it high S last time. Sorry, well, mid S. And so I think I'll be putting it like high S this time. It's really, really decent with Heavy Hand, and there's a lot of synergies you can get on, what's the class called? Spimenta, that just make it really, really nice. I think that it's a very solid boss passive, but I probably should be taking more. Most of the time, though, I usually already have a different kind of build rather than like spam brocking. Like Lightning Orb is so good at spam brocking as well. New Lightning Orb is just really, really nice. The new change to Grabby Hand was super nice. I think it could be more. I think it could be 2 times, 2.5 times. They both sound fine. Like, sure, it absolutely destroys Slime Drop. Go ahead. I think that's perfectly fine. And I guess, like, squares as well, but, like, does it really? Does it really? Now, Grinding Monster, there's only 1 spot this can go. Where did I put it last time? Hello? I put an A tier last time? S tier last time? No, nah, man. You get an early Grinding Monster and cruise. Like, you're cruising. Like the Inferno Ingot you pick up later on is like so much better. Uh, I think that just has to go in S plus plus. It gives you so much max health. Okay, maybe I'm overstating it a bit. It's like I guess it's not that much depending on how late you get it. I don't know, man. It's so strong. I think it just has to go in S plus plus. So much max health. Super worth it. Grubby Gloves. So the old Grubby Gloves was probably unnerfed, and I imagine that was extremely, extremely high. I'm trying to look for this right now. A tier, okay. Very fair, I'd say. New Grubby Gloves is pretty bad comparatively. Basically, it's just a combo piece if you have Spinception or if you have Mask. And without those two, it's much less interesting, unless you also have like Cauldron Bubble. I think it. I don't think it deserves a buff. I think that I'm probably fine with how it is. It's very much on the boring side. I'll put it low B. It's pretty comparable to Complex Claw, I'd say. Satchel, Jesus. I like the change to Satchel. You can only get epics and then it's 5 upgrades. Um, God, I don't think I can put it anywhere higher than C though. I'm just not impressed with it at all. I don't like it. My last few satchels have been just not good. I would have rather not taken anything. I've done 2 more bad orbs in my deck. I don't have a ambi, so getting to my good orbs is kind of hard. Yeah, I'm just not very impressed with it. Your crits also refresh. So last time I put this in... Wait, I didn't put it in S++? Ah, crazy. So it's 1 extra refresh on the board baseline. That's very decent. That's equivalent to Fresh Bandana. And when you get more synergy points with it, it's even more. Okay, I have it as the second passive in S tier. Yeah, that's understandable to be honest. I think it could potentially, like, the fact that it's not S++ tier, yeah, maybe a bit sus. I feel like it could very much make that S++ tier. It's just so good. Like, any extra crit stuff you have, refreshing the board, super, super nice. Here's Backpack. Yeah, I put you C tier, yeah. Good. I was gonna say, it looks like I put that B tier last time. It doesn't deserve B tier. Sure, it's not bad. Sometimes you get +1, +2. Sometimes you're getting like +3, +6. Obviously, it's really good in some specific comps. Remember that Activate Orb comp I ran a while back? I had just like 10 Activate Orbs in my deck. That was funny with the Hero's Backpack. But yeah, it's mostly just a funny passive sometimes. Most of the time, it's just not going to do anything. How's the slime? I feel like what? I had this in B last time? No. S tier. This passive is nuts. The amount of power, momentum it can give you your shots, it's just so handy. Like, sure, the second you pick it up, it's probably not going to be doing that much. Sometimes it might even mess up your navigation. But, like, you get a rub up with this thing, you are infinite. Like, there are so many orbs, like, if you can generate bombs, that's so much momentum you're generating. Like, it's just so, so good. I've been really enjoying my House of Slime, I'd say. Alright, here we have 2 pretty unimpressive passives. I think I can just solidly plonk them both in here. I honestly, like, I've said this before, but I want these two added back together. I think it'll be more interesting that way. Make it whatever rarity you want. And as for Bomb Steel plus 10 damage, I don't care. It's just, there are just a few boring number passives that, like, you know, you could be doing something interesting here. You don't need to just be a boring number. Like, yeah. Anyway. This one's even, these two are even bigger culprits because they have another passive which is basically identical to them. Like 5 damage difference, really. As well as you also have the more interesting version, like Spinfaction 1 on your bombs, that's super interesting, that's super cool. And it's basically plus 10 damage, sometimes it's even more. Anyway. Infernal Ingot. Yeah, last time I had this in S++, this time though I'm gonna have to put in B tier. I think the Infernal Ingot, I swear I'll stop doing that eventually. Yeah, Infernal Wing is really, really good. Not a surprise, it's the best healing source in the game. Unfortunately, it does also come with a max health halving, and when you consider that, a lot of the time it is much worse than some other healing sources, like mostly the combos where you combine 3 passives to get massive amounts of healing, or like 1 passive and an orb. Like if you have a Matryoshka and a Popping Corn, like, oh, that's amazing, or a Slimy Cell. But yeah, Infernal is amazing. It's really, really solid healing, just deserves S++. Usually I do like to rate the passives that you can only get from events like slightly lower, and I like bundling the event as well, so the fact that you're having your max HP is rough, but the thing is, the upside of Infernal is just so high that I have to put it there. Like, yeah, you have your runs where, like last run, for example. Last run is a perfect example for this, where, you know, you really shouldn't be having a max HP. And sometimes it may even come back to bite you, shall we say. But yeah, definitely just deserves S++ tier. Oboe. So I had Oboe in S++ last time, and it deserved it. It was like 1 house damage. That's massive. And I think I'll probably still just play there. I say lowest plus plus, but you just get so much health from this thing. It's just so nice. These are all somehow we've got a lot of them in passives. 2 max HP when you finish a fight with Bulwark. It's nice. Most of the time, it's basically just an apple a day. But as I said, with these passives, most of them are just kind of boring number passives, right? And this is not a number passive. This is like, oh, if I play around it, I can actually gain an improvement, and like that improvement's actually going to help later on. So aiming for it is actually like a good idea. It's definitely not a crazy passive. I'll put it low B. I'll potentially put it lower later on. But like, if you're getting this pretty late, you're probably getting an apple a day. Sometimes if you're playing extremely hard runs, you might only get +6, +8 max HP, which that in and of itself may be worth it. And if you get it early on, I mean, you can get like 30 health. Like, it's pretty nice. Leaf. I love Leaf. I put it in S last time. I think that's very fair. Leaf did get weaker with Morbid being nerfed, so that they have really, really bad synergy together. But Leaf just has such good high roll points, especially with how highly I've rated Knuckles. I'm sure you can tell that, like, I think that Leaf definitely deserves it. It shouldn't be S++. It is unfortunate how many pegs you don't have on your map sometimes with Leaf. So I definitely can't put it much higher. But like, if you find one synergy point, I believe I said this last time. Like, if you find one cookie or one Knuckles or one refresher course or one refreshing punch, even Leaf suddenly becomes a really good option. And sometimes you don't even need that much. Sometimes you just need like, oh, even one of the renewed Vigorbs, they're called. Like, that's just solid. 2 extra crits. It's a decent passive. I have it in A tier. A tier is a very fair spot for it. It's just 2 extra passive crits. Sometimes it's even more than that because you have like Criticus, you have like Fleece, or sometimes you're really lucky and you have your crits also refresh. Those times you're very, very happy. Sorrow? I like Sorrow a lot. I had it top of A tier last time. I can't put an S, can I? No. Yeah, it's a very decent passive a lot of the time, especially with the new effect of criticism, which I don't believe is on this list. By the way, I found these two. They're just a bit lower. They're not actually alphabetically sorted. I don't believe criticism's on the list, but as I said, I'll still be ranking it. Yeah, especially with criticism, Mask is extremely good. I say there are just enough synergy points to where Mask very easily could deserve that S slot. Getting a +1 on all the debuffs you apply is actually just pretty decent, as it turns out. But yeah, just because you need to find those synergies, it deserves the A. But it's a really good passive when you actually get it working out. Matthias Shell. I mean, -2/-2 is unfortunate, but an extra shot is insane. Like Constricting Chains and Matthias Shell right next to each other, what a surprise. There are so many good synergy points you can find with it, like, for example, Inferno Winget. That is just so worth it. Like, mass procking is a really, really strong thing in this game, and Matthias Shell just does that for you. You can eat that -2/-2, that's fine. Mental Mantle is plus 0.5 damage. It's not bad. It can be helpful. I think it just solidly deserves B. I don't really want to put it in A. Like, the damage is fine. I'd also happily put it in buff remove. That's where I had it last time. I think I can agree with that. I think that it could be more interesting. I think that it's generally interesting flavor right now, but I don't know. I feel like I could happily see an improvement to it. Molten Gold. I actually like Molten Gold quite a lot. A lot of the runs, I'm just like, yeah, I kind of wish I had a Molten Gold as my starter passive. So I put it in. Where the hell is it? Oh my god, I put it low B tier. Nah, I think it's low A tier. I think if I start off my Crucible runs with Molten Gold, I'm actually pretty happy. Usually I don't try and aim for like something like a Enhanced Death Starter. Because Enhanced Death Starter in Crucible, you actually still need to find stuff. So getting a passive like Molten Gold, which kind of improves your ability to find stuff, I find is actually just very nice. And like, you're getting, what, probably maybe like 2-3 extra coins per battle? That does actually add up. Like, it's not bad. It's certainly not anything crazy. But I have. Okay, maybe high 80 is a bit. I'll go a low 80 is a bit high. A high B tier. I don't know. I've been very happy with my starting Molten Golds recently. Okay, B tier. Let's be real here. Molten. I think I've definitely soured on Molten. It's not as nice as I once liked it as much. But I put it in low B tier last time. I feel like that's a bit rude to Molten. I feel like it's definitely. I'll put it like here. I don't usually pick it up as my boss passive often. In fact, I'll never ever pick it up. Sorry. I absolutely hate picking up as my first boss passive. It's not a fun first boss passive, but you can actually get a lot of use out of it as the second boss passive. So, definitely deserves to be reasonably high. Like, its kill power it has is so nice, but it is like a wave where you really want to have like this one amazing shot which just obliterates most of them. Sometimes you just don't get that, and it can be very, very unfortunate. Because, of course, the second you take it, no more gold, which means no more upgrades. your comp is basically set in stone, and that can just be pretty rough. Monster training, the numbers could be different. It's certainly not like the passives in here don't necessarily mean that I think they're too weak, or that I think they're uh, basically. I just think the numbers could be more interesting. Like I don't know. I just don't. I'm never really impressed by picking up a monster training. Like most of the time, I'm getting use out of monster training. I'm finding it funny that I got use out of monster training because it's just the kind of place where it sits. Like yeah, I was talking about how multipliers are really good. There's a big difference between having no pegs on the board and having low health. Although they could very easily have it at the same time. Navigation inflation. I placed this pretty high compared to Molten Gold last time. Pretty understandably so. Navigation inflation, especially when you compare it with Reduce, is pretty nuts. Although last time I put Reduced in S tier, that is an interesting choice. I don't know if I agree with that. In fact, you know what? Compared to last time, I'm just going to place these both in now. I think Navigation Inflation, I'm super happy to pick it up so often. I think I'll put in S tier. Molten Gold, however, I'll put in A tier, which is the opposite of last time. But Molten, you're just collecting some nice extra cash. You're pretty happy with it. Navigation Inflation, it combines super well with Molten. But between the two, if I had to pick exactly which one I'd want more, it's definitely Navigation Inflation. I think Molten Gold was still very, very new at that time, and I thought that 5 gold was more interesting than it was. It's certainly a solid passive, and especially if you get like Recombobulator or a Cookbook or a bunch of things like that, you can get a lot of cash off of it, but it kind of does bounce off of Navigation Inflation to become the most insane version of itself. Orbit Story. Now, I imagine I put Orbit Story. No, okay. I put it high B, respectable. I like Orbit Story. I high B is actually a great spot for it. Honestly, I'll put it low A. It's like I feel like it does slightly more than you think it would do, just because of how it's interacting with the odds there. I think it's actually much more fun than I initially gave it credit for once it was first buffed. Once it was first buffed, I still believe I was having quite a rough time with it, but now I like it a lot more. I have a lot more appreciation for it. I've won a very decent passive. I probably I only put it in the A tier last time. I think that's honestly fair. High A tier. It's a very solid passive to pick up. You're very happy to pick up in some specific comps, like super happy. Like imagine you got a Machoska, you're probably getting thousands of damage. Maybe you have like Glorious Suffering as well. It's really easy to get thousands of damage, Glorious Suffering, and then you just want Overwhelm to just smash through 2, 3 enemies at a time. That's pretty good. 2 extra refreshes, there's only one spot this can go. And yeah, I put it there last time. 2 extra refreshes is absolutely nuts. If 1 extra refresh is S tier, I think you can do the math somewhere 2 extra refreshes ends up. You're always like super happy to pick up a peg bag, and you shouldn't really be turning it down very often. I'm of course talking about that run, which was like probably maybe last month, maybe like 4 weeks ago, where I turned down a peg bag, and yeah, I still can't remember if I should have turned down that peg bag or not, but I remember that I turned down a peg bag, which is it's not something you want to do, shall we say? A Peglin Air Spinner, it's a decent chunk of extra damage. I think I'll just chuck it like solidly in B plus tier. Yeah, let's go B plus. It's a decent amount of extra damage. That's probably around about where I put it last time. Like you're kind of happy to pick up Peglin Air Spinner, but most of the time it's nothing too crazy. I cannot see for the life of me where I placed it last time. Okay. Plus 15 damage. I mean, did I actually place this last time or did I just chuck it here? Yeah, I just chucked it here. Yep, I agree with that. I think that you can have much more interesting passives than that. You also play some Infection 1, it's more interesting than plus 15 damage. I'm just not happy with a lot of these. A lot of them are just, your numbers are numbering. And the way how they do is just boring because you have other numbers and numbering, but they just do it in a much better way apparently. Anvil. Anvil's really good. It's also an event passive. However, the ones where I pick up Anvil, like you get an early Anvil, you are swimming. So I'm definitely going to be chucking this in just S tier. You're very happy to get early Anvil. It's really quite solid, and you happily take that 4 health loss. Just getting that 25 instant cash for the upgrade, it's just super nice. Pocket Sand. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly much more interesting than before. I think I have it in C tier. It must have just been buffed then. Yeah, no, I think I can pretty confidently just put it here. I think that you can destroy these melee enemies even more than that. I think that that's cool, but the math just doesn't line up for me. Pocket watch, I want a button to turn off the pocket watch noise. I just really dislike the pocket watch noise personally. If I was rating it, yeah, I'd probably put it B tier, but oh god, fine. There you go. I'll put you low B tier. I'm sure it's generating you a decent chunk of extra damage, but yeah. Moving on. Popping Corn, it did get nerfed. I believe I actually only had it in S tier last time. Yeah, I'll just chuck it in S tier again. It's healing. Healing passives are just good. They're really, really solid to have. And I would say that 15 is actually a pretty decent bump from 12. Like the difference between 24 and 30. Like it's actually more than you'd think. But yeah, it's still healing. It's still extremely, extremely good. It's not too much of a surprise.